Hi, I'm Valerie, a registered nurse specializing in wellness, a health educator, and a certified health coach. Over the years, I have helped hundreds of people make meaningful, sustainable changes to their health. And the only one constant that I have seen is that no one gets it right 100% of the time. And fortunately, you don't have to. I have worked with many people who come to me highly motivated and they want to overhaul everything all at once. A new diet, new daily workouts, earlier bedtime, the whole thing. And at first, it does all seem great. But soon I start to notice the signs of burnout as the new habits slowly start to fall away. It is not because they suddenly stop caring, but because all that motivation that they started out with is not enough to carry them through all these big changes all at once. No one really talks about this. More often than not, coaches and programs will try to sell you on going all in. They make it sound like motivation will carry you, like you can just willpower your way to perfection. Even though this sells, it is not what behavior change science supports. And honestly, it is not how real life works at all. Setbacks are very normal. They are not something to be ashamed of. They are actually helpful feedback that you can use to help build more sustainable habits. And in this video, I want to show you how to bounce back from setbacks and use those moments to your best advantage. So why do setbacks happen? Well, they can happen for several reasons. First, let's talk about motivation. Motivation is great for getting started, but it is not a reliable fuel source to keep you going. It fluctuates. Some days you'll feel energized and ready to take on the world, especially when starting out on a new health journey. But then other days, you're exhausted or overwhelmed, or for whatever other reason, your motivation just crashes. That is not a personal flaw. That is just human nature. And something that might surprise you is that too much motivation can actually set you up for a setback. When motivation is high, we tend to set the bar way too high. We commit to big changes that exceed our current ability, and that makes us more likely to crash. Setbacks can also just come from the realities of everyday life. Illness, work demands, stress, travel, family obligations, all of these can throw even the best laid plans off track. Without a flexible, well-designed system to support you, it is easy to lose momentum when things get busy or unpredictable. There's also a mindset trap that I see very often. This is all or nothing thinking. You miss one workout or you eat something that wasn't part of your plan, and suddenly it feels like the whole thing is ruined. That kind of thinking can turn a small bump into a complete derailment. Another big one is that the new habits that you choose might be too drastic. You go from zero to everything overnight, working out 6 days a week, overhauling your meals, or committing to a strict bedtime. That kind of big change is hard to sustain because the behaviors are too far from your starting point. They require a lot of effort every single time. So when you combine all of this, it is easy to see how setbacks happen, but they should not be seen as failures. They are just signs that something needs adjusting. Setbacks are not the end of your health journey. They are an important part of it, and you can design your way out of them to come back stronger. So how do you bounce back from a setback without getting stuck in guilt or giving up entirely? The first step is to shift the way you think about it. Don't view a setback as a sign that you have failed. It is simply feedback. It is just information. And when you treat it that way, you can use a setback as a chance to adjust and move forward. Instead of asking yourself, oh, what's wrong with me? Ask, why didn't this work for me right now? Was the behavior too difficult? Was I vague about when or how I would do it? Did I have a way to remember to do it? When coming from a place of self compassion and genuine curiosity, these questions will help you move forward. Feeling like you failed or beating yourself up and telling yourself that you just need to try harder will only move you backwards. Once you have identified the possible reasons or barriers, the next step is to redesign the behavior so that you can do it. This usually involves scaling the behavior back and making it easier, even way easier if needed. That might mean shrinking the behavior down to something very tiny. If you couldn't stick to 30 minutes of walking every day, try just 2 minutes. If meal prepping for the whole week feels like too much, start with chopping one vegetable for tonight's dinner. The goal isn't to impress or follow someone else's example. The goal is to redesign the behavior so that you are able to perform it consistently. This is how you will rebuild momentum. It can also be extremely useful to attach that new small habit to something that you already do. This is what is called an anchor. So maybe you brush your teeth and then do 5 shoulder rolls. Or right after your morning coffee, you prep a water bottle for the day. That connection helps the habit stick because the anchor acts as a built-in reminder. Look for things that you already do during your day and use them as natural cues to trigger the new behavior. But not everyone has a consistent daily routine to anchor to, and that is okay. In that case, you can create a time-based prompt instead. For example, you might set a reminder on your phone or decide to do your habit at a specific time of the day, like right before lunch or as part of your evening wind down. There are so many tools out there nowadays to experiment with. So find what works for you. I tried 4 different to-do list apps before I found one that really worked for me. Next, when you do follow through, celebrate it. That positive emotion is what helps wire the habit into your brain. You don't have to throw a big party. Just smile, give yourself a nod, and say, "Yes, I did that." That small moment of celebration makes a big difference and signals to your brain that this behavior is worth repeating again. You can also redesign your environment to support the behavior. If you want to stretch more, then move your yoga mat where you can see it. Are you trying to eat more vegetables? Prep them ahead and put them in front of the fridge where you will actually see and reach for them. The fewer barriers you have to performing the new behavior, the more likely it is that you will actually do it. No matter how well you plan, there are still going to be times when you get off track. This is something that behavior science makes very clear. Setbacks are not the opposite of progress. They are part of how we figure out what actually works. When a habit falls apart, it does not mean that it was a bad idea. It means that there was something about the way it was designed that didn't quite fit your real life yet. Maybe the habit was too big, or it wasn't tied to a clear prompt, or it didn't fit the demands of your day. A setback gives you the chance to see that. It exposes the friction points. There are also times when you might have trouble even just getting a habit started. When this happens, it is not a personal failure. It just means that the behavior, as it was originally designed, wasn't easy enough to do consistently. Maybe it required more time or effort than you realistically had. Maybe it never had a clear place in your day. It was always a good intention, but never had a natural when. Or maybe the habit made sense in theory, but didn't work in the context of your energy level or your routine or your environment. If that sounds familiar, it does not mean that you need to try harder or get more disciplined or somehow get more willpower. It means you need to redesign the habit. The key is to make new behaviors so easy that they feel almost effortless. Design a new behavior in such a way that it is something you could do even on your busiest, most stressful days. Now, this might make it feel like you are doing too little, but in reality, you are creating the most important thing: momentum. You're wiring in a sense of success. And that feeling of, I did it, is what helps the habit take root. You are not falling short or lowering the bar. You are building up a strong foundation. And from there, that behavior can grow naturally, gradually, and in a way that actually fits your life. Now that you understand why setbacks happen and how to work with them, not against them, let's talk about how to actually bounce back in a way that feels realistic. Here is a simple 3-step process that you can use anytime you have fallen off track or if you are struggling to get a new habit started in the first place. First, identify the smallest version of the new behavior that you can do. Not the ideal version, not the full routine that you planned out, or not what that social media influencer tells you to do, but just the tiniest version of the habit that still moves you in the right direction. Ask yourself, what would this look like if it was almost ridiculously easy for me? That is the step that you start with. Next, connect it to something that you already do. So this cue can be like brushing your teeth or pouring your morning coffee or sitting down at your desk for the day. If nothing consistent comes to mind, use a time-based prompt instead, like setting a reminder on your phone. The point is to give this small habit a home in your day, so it is not just floating around as just a good intention. And finally, when you do the behavior, celebrate it. I don't mean a physical reward. I mean just an emotional moment of success. Smile. Say, yes, I did that. I'm so happy I just did that. Let yourself feel that tiny win because that positive emotion is what tells your brain that this matters and that you should do it again. This is how you bounce back, not with shame or trying to ramp up your motivation, but with the right design. You start small, you give it some structure, and you lock it in with a sense of success. The truth is, you don't have to go big to make the progress needed to see real health improvement. The people that make the most lasting changes are the ones who start out small, with behaviors that are doable, repeatable, and flexible enough to fit their real life. You don't need to be perfect either. You just need to keep showing up, one small step at a time. That is how lifelong habits are built, not through shaming yourself into action or by depending on unreliable motivation or limited willpower, but through thoughtful behavior design. If you would like more support with this, I have something exciting coming very soon. My new membership program called Wellness by Design is opening soon. It is built to help you make sustainable changes that actually last. This program combines science-based guidance on what to do, like how to support your health through nutrition, movement, sleep, and stress management, and also the behavior design tools to help you actually follow through in a way that fits your real life. You will also get access to group coaching calls with me, where we will work together to design the habits and routines that support your long-term health. If that sounds like something that you are interested in, there is a link to sign up on the waitlist in the video description. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I share practical science-backed strategies to help you build habits that support your health and longevity. So if that is something that you are working on, please stick around. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, please take good care of yourself.